Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Hinsdale's virtual service. We're so glad you're here. Hope you're relaxed and comfortable in your pajamas. We're going to start with a reading by Florence Kaplow. On this strange Sunday, we gather together in new ways, linked to each other through the delicate tracery of electrons and through the invisible bonds of caring and love, sharing with millions the wondering and fear and uncertainty at this time. May each of us stay whole and well. May each of us find our own ground of strength and clarity. May each of us let our hearts break open to new ways of caring for our neighbors as ourselves. May each of us know, even if we are alone, that we are held in a great embrace of love. I invite you, if you have a chalice or a candle, to light it with us at this time. Our worship associate, Linda Riel, will lead our covenant as the chalice is lit.
Please join from home in our chalice lighting words. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Please join us now as we say our covenant together. We promise to listen and learn with compassion, curiosity, and an open mind. Engage in creating a warm and welcoming community. Work together and beyond our walls to address social and environmental challenges. And with our time, talent, and treasure, support our church and its mission.
Thank you so much, Linda. Good morning. My name is Pam Romancic. I am a queer cisgender woman whose pronouns are she and hers. And I am also joining you from my living room for the very first, but assuredly not last time, while we all navigate this COVID-19 pandemic. We have an amazing team of folks who have helped us to get online, and I'd like to say a special thank you right here at the beginning to Suzanne Williams, Jean Schaefer, Ashley Kennedy, our worship associate, Linda Rio, Pam Fodor is going to be sharing our wisdom story with us. And then Jamie Passman and John Cooper-Ryder, who are going to keep the music flowing. I wish I could see your faces, even those of you who occasionally fall asleep and doze off during the sermon. But I am sure that we're going to use all of our technology and help us stay together. We've heard some tell of other churches using technology where people can actually see back and forth who's attending, and I think this is going to be an evolving work in progress, so keep staying tuned and we'll see what's happened. Maybe someday we'll even get to see everybody's Winnie the Pooh pajamas. I hope so. Now, just a few announcements. The church office is going to be closed for the next bit of time. Pam Fodor, Linda Liberacki, and I are working from home, and we can be reached through our regular email addresses. We'll be calling in to check our telephone messages at the church, but the quickest way to reach us will be email or to call ourselves directly. You have your directories that you got with your pledge drive letters, and so all of our information to reach everybody is in there. And this is important. If you get into trouble, if you are not having income, if you need some food support, please let us know how we can help you. And if you can donate as we create baskets to share with people in our community, please be willing to donate. This is the most important thing. If you don't let us know, we can't help you. So stay connected with the church, stay connected with all of us, and know that we're going to be able to come out on the other side of this situation intact. We are entering unknown territory, and it can be scary. But as long as we stay together in spirit and love, we're going to make it to the other side. Now, if you feel like standing up, you can join in singing our opening song, Morning Has Broken, or you could sit down and sing. John Cooper-Ryder is going to lead us, and the words will be on your screen.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
I'm going to introduce Pam Fodor now, and she's going to talk to you and share our wisdom story this morning.
Good morning, friends. I'm so sorry I can't see all your smiling faces, but I am happy to be here from my dining room to share with you today's story, which is called Wanda Roses, and it's by Pat Brisson. So there's Wanda. One morning in May, on the way to school, Wanda noticed a bush growing in the empty corner lot at Fillmore and Hudson Streets. It must have been growing for a while because it was about 2 feet tall, and Wanda was surprised she hadn't noticed it before. But there it was, bare and thorny, and Wanda, who loved beautiful things, felt her heart beat faster. A rose bush, she said to herself, my very own rose bush. All during school, she thought about her rose bush. During art, she drew pictures of what it would look like in bloom. And during library, She borrowed books on arranging flowers. And during science, she asked so many questions about how to take care of it that finally her teacher said she really must stop asking questions about rose bushes and start thinking about electricity, which was what the lesson was really about. After school, she rushed to her rose bush. It was still bare and thorny. Perhaps it needs some more sun, thought Wanda. So she put down her school bag and she began dragging some of the nearby trash out to the curb. Mrs. Turner, who was on her way to the store, stopped to help with a broken chair. Cleaning up the neighborhood, Wanda? Mrs. Turner asked. That's a nice project for you. Oh, I'm not just cleaning, Wanda told her. I'm helping my rose bush to get more sun so it will bloom. Your rose bush? Said Mrs. Turner. Where is your rose bush? Over there, Wanda said, pointing proudly to the bare thorny bush. Mr. Claude was on his way home from work, and he saw Wanda trying to drag an old door and stopped to help. Cleaning up the neighborhood, are you, Wanda? He asked. Not just cleaning, Mr. Claudel, Wanda told him. I'm getting rid of the trash so my rose bush will get more air. A rose bush? Here? Mr. Claudel asked. And so Wanda showed him the rose bush. I don't know much about gardening, Wanda, said Mr. Claudel, frowning, but I don't think that's a rose bush. Sure it is, said Wanda, and in a few weeks, this lot will be filled with the sweetest smelling roses you've ever seen. She thanked Mr. Claudel for all his help and went off to drag away some more trash. Mr. Claudel shook his head. If that's a rose bush, he said to himself, then I'm the King of France. Every day after school that week and the next, Wanda worked in the empty lot. Mrs. Giamatti, who lived in the apartment next door, gave Wanda trash bags for the old shoes, beer bottles, broken toys, and bits of glass that she was picking up. You've done a great job of cleaning up this lot, Wanda, Mrs. Giamatti told her. Oh, I'm not just cleaning, Wanda said. I have to get rid of all this trash so my rose bush will get enough sun and fresh air to bloom. Well, where's your rose bush? Mrs. Giamatti asked. So Wanda showed her. I don't know if that's a rose bush, she thought to herself. That afternoon, Wanda hurried to her rose bush. It was still bare and thorny. She looked at the dry ground and smiled. Don't worry, little bush, she said. I'll get you some water, and then you'll be able to grow flowers. Wanda went to the butcher shop across the street. Mr. Sanchez, would you please give me some water for my rose bush? Rose bush? Is that what I see you taking care of and talking to every day over there? Are you sure that's a rose bush, Wanda? Mr. Sanchez asked. Oh, yes, I'm sure, Wanda said, but it can't bloom because it needs water. Mr. Sanchez gave her water in a plastic bucket. I hope that really is a rose bush, Wanda, he said, looking at her doubtfully. You'll see, Wanda told him. In a few weeks, that whole lot will be full of roses. As Wanda carried the water to her rose bush, Mr. Sanchez muttered, in a few weeks, I don't think that's going to be a rose bush. Every day, Wanda ran to her rose bush after school. But every day it was still bare and thorny. She watered it and sang to it and checked its bare branches for roses. Mr. Claudel, on his way home from work, stopped to see if there were any roses yet. Mr. Turner, on her way to the butcher shop, stopped to see if there were any roses yet. Mrs. Giamatti, seeing Wanda in the lot, called down from her apartment to ask if there were any roses yet. When Wanda went to the library at school, Mrs. Jones asked if there were any roses yet. And every day when Wanda went to the butcher shop for water, Mr. Sanchez asked if there were any roses yet. To each person, Wanda would answer the same thing. Just you wait. Pretty soon, this whole lot will be filled with roses. So Wanda planned a party to debut her roses. She sent out invitations that said, please come on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock to have muffins and see my roses. And when everyone started getting the invitations, they shook their heads. Oh dear, said Mrs. Turner. Is she still expecting to get roses from that bush? Oh no, said Mr. Claudel. And she's worked so hard too. Oh my, said Mr. Giamatti. She'll be so disappointed. Oh darn, said Mr. Sanchez. There must be something I can do. Oh, good. Oh, good, said Mrs. Jones, who had only heard about the bush from Wanda and hadn't seen it for herself. I'll bring the muffins. The night before the tea party, everyone was very busy. And the next morning at 9, everyone was so surprised to see Wanda's rose bush covered with roses. Paper roses that Wanda had made herself and carefully tied to each bare thorny branch. But more surprising yet, everyone who came to the party had brought along a rose bush to plant near Wanda's, except Mrs. Jones, who had brought delicious blueberry muffins. After they had eaten their muffins and drank their tea, they all got busy planting rose bushes. Mr. Claudel and Mrs. Turner dug the holes. Mrs. Giamatti held the bushes in place while Wanda and Mrs. Jones filled in around the roots and soil, and Mr. Sanchez brought water from his shop and watered them all thoroughly. When the work was finished, Mr. Claudel said, Wanda, this is going to be a rose garden fit for a king. Or a queen, said Mrs. Turner. Wanda and the others smiled. And later that summer, the whole lot was filled with the biggest, most beautiful, sweet-smelling roses that anyone had ever seen, just as Wanda had always said it would be. Thanks for listening. For our families, please check your emails later on today for some wondering questions and for some activities based on today's story. Hopefully next week, the technology will cooperate with us and we'll be able to have a breakout room for children. And then later on in the week, a thoughtful Thursday check-in so that we can all stay connected during this time. Please take care of each other and stay well. Some of the activities to go with this week's story would be to try to plant a bean seed or go outside and clean up some of your winter garden to get it ready for spring. Or maybe when you're walking your dogs or out taking a walk, you could pick up any litter that you see on the ground. Be like Wanda, have faith, and help the earth.
Thank you so much, Pam. I really appreciate your patience. Oh, I'm going to invite us all now to take a few moments to gather ourselves to enter holy space in your own holy living rooms. Breathe in, breathe out. Allow all the anxiety, all the worries, all the tension that each of us is experiencing in this time of challenge to just flow out of your body, down your back, through your thighs, down out the bottom of your feet into the rich, dark earth, which can hold everything that we have within us. I invite you to just sit for a few moments, breathing in and breathing out. And then I'm going to read you an imagined letter from COVID-19 to humans by Kristen. For the first few moments, just breathe. Just stop. It is no longer a request. It is a mandate. We will help you. We will bring the supersonic, high-speed merry-go-round to a halt. We will stop the planes, the trains, the schools, the malls, the meetings, the frenetic, furied rush of illusions and obligations that keep you from hearing our single, shared, beating heart. The way we breathe together in unison. Our obligation is to each other, as it always has been, even though you have forgotten. We will interrupt this broadcast, the endless, cacophonous broadcast of divisions and distractions, to bring you this long breaking news. We are not well. None of us. All of us are suffering. Last year, the firestorms, the scorched earth, the lungs of the earth did not give you pause, nor the typhoons in Africa, China, or Japan, nor the fevered climates in Japan and India. You have not been listening. It is hard to understand when you are so busy all the time, hustling to uphold the comforts and the conveniences that scaffold your lives. But the foundation is giving way, buckling under the weight of your needs and desires. We will help you. We will bring the firestorms to your body. We will bring the fever to your body. We will bring the burning, searing, and flooding to your lungs that you might hear. We are not well. Despite what you might think or feel, we are not the enemy. We are the messenger. We are the ally. We are a balancing force, and we are asking you to stop, to be still, to listen, to move beyond your individual concerns and consider the concerns of all, to be with your ignorance, to find your humility, to relinquish your thinking minds and travel deep into the mind of the heart, to look up into the sky streaked with fewer planes and to see it, to notice its condition. Clear, smoky, smoggy, rainy. How much do you need it to be healthy so that you may also be healthy? To look at a tree and to see it, to notice its condition. How does its health contribute to the health of the sky, to the air you need to be healthy? To visit a river and to see it, to notice its condition. Clear, clean, murky, polluted. How much do you need it to be healthy so that you may also be healthy? How does its health contribute to the health of the tree, who contributes to the health of the sky, so that you may also be healthy? Many are afraid now. Do not demonize your fear, and also do not let it rule you. Instead, let it speak to you in your stillness. Listen for its wisdom. What might it be telling you about what is at work, at issue, at risk, beyond the threats of personal inconvenience and illness? As the health of a tree, a river, the sky tells you about the quality of your own health, what might the quality of your health tell you about the health of the rivers, the trees, and the sky, and all of us who share this planet with you? Stop. Notice if you are resisting. Notice what you are resisting. Ask why. Stop. Just stop. Be still. Listen. Ask what we might teach you about illness and healing and what might be required so that all may be well. We will help you if you listen. If you have an extra candle, I invite you to light it now for the intentions that might be weighing or dancing on your heart this morning. John is going to lead us in singing Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Our first reading is How We're Silenced and the Power of Judy Heurmann by Kristen Joyner. Judy Heurmann isn't nice. Let me be clear. Judy Heurmann, one of the most transformative disability rights leaders of our time, is very friendly. Just take a walk around her Washington, D.C. block. You'll see that she's on a first-name basis with everyone, from the doorman to the bus driver. But she is not nice. Judy Heurmann became a quadriplegic from polio at the age of 1 and grew up in 1950s Brooklyn, an era known for locking disabled people in institutions, segregating them into inferior special education programs, and shunting them into sheltered workshops as proxy for quote-unquote employment. People with disabilities, stigmatized and ignored, were considered a burden. In the face of this discrimination, Judy became an activist for disability rights. In 1977, she and others led 150 disabled people into the San Francisco Federal Building and refused to leave until the Carter administration enacted the first civil rights legislation for disability. This protest, the Section 504 sit-in, is recognized now as the longest takeover of a federal building in U.S. history, and it paved the way for the Americans with Disabilities Act. So in other words, Judy is a badass. Judy speaks the truth unapologetically. Now, in case you don't know good girl lexicon, speaking the truth unapologetically is not considered nice. Nice is what girls are asked to perform to be considered desirable. Nice girls are soft, compassionate, and above all, agreeable. Nice girls don't complain, have needs, ask for what they want, say no, get angry, refuse to do something, or make a fuss. Nice girls apologize when they get the wrong drink order. Nice, however, is not just about gender. It is about power. When interacting with people with less power, sociologists have noted people with power expect the less powerful to display considerate, cooperative, and nice behavior. When they don't, people with power aren't just surprised, they're annoyed, and even more, they're threatened. Not acting nice toward people with power is an inherent challenge to their privileged status. When Judy and the protesters first rolled into the San Francisco Federal Building, they were offered punch and cookies as if they were children. But when they refused to leave the office, they suddenly became a threat. Overnight, they flipped to being called an army of cripples by the media because they held the potential of violence. When President Trump called Greta Thunberg an angry little girl, he was trying to pull this lever. Nice, by definition, doesn't insist on being heard. If we speak up or push to be heard, we're policed, often with shame, bullying, and exclusion. Writing Judy's story, this is what I've learned. There is no path to challenging abusive societal norms that allows us to stay in the nice box. Speaking the truth about and taking on the wrongs of the world is never going to be nice. It is always going to be about challenging and dismantling power structures. And privilege will do anything to shame, bully, and exclude truth tellers. Talking about being a victim of sexual assault, being discriminated against, being violated, none of it is nice. The dehumanization of people is an ugly business, period. Thus ends the reading.
Thank you, Linda. Telling the truth isn't always nice. It can bring up unpleasant realities. That's why our president has attacked journalists and called them nasty when they simply ask questions which threaten his carefully constructed reality. None of us like it when people challenge our comfortable assumptions about the world. As kids, most of us grew up being told, be nice. It meant not hitting your siblings, not saying mean things to your friends. It meant doing what you were supposed to do to get along. And for kids, it kind of means synonymous with being good. Don't mess up. Don't break anything. Keep your hands to yourself. For heaven's sakes, be nice. But as we get older, being nice changes a little bit. It becomes more about playing nice, going along to get along, about not making any waves. It's a reminder to follow society rules, to fit in. In our neighborhood here, it means that if you put up a bottle tree as a bit of street art, you're going to get a letter from the village telling you to cease and desist. Really. It also can mean those places where you say out loud something that other people are expecting you to be quiet about. Like saying, maybe we're going to be doing this for a longer time than any of us would hope. I have to tell you, this sermon was planned to be a good old-fashioned social justice sermon all those weeks ago before this reality of us living in our living rooms turned us on our heads. Rah, rah, go make the world a better place. Stop being nice. That doesn't seem quite as real right now. We are all confined to our homes. We're wondering what is coming next. We're trying to be good, trying to take care of one another and ourselves. That's why we're sitting in our living rooms rather than together in sanctuary. We're taking care. We're keeping our social distance. We're making sure all of us can be safe. You know, on some level, it still does fit. Because in order to be real, and to be responsible, and to look truth squarely in the face, you have to let go of being nice in these times as well. Today, more than ever, we have to be real. We have to navigate the world and figure out what is honest communication, what is important, and what we can simply let go of, because it doesn't matter anymore as we all move together through this uncharted territory. I have a video I'm going to share with you now. My wife, the Reverend Karen Mooney, made it a while ago, and it features her chorus, the Artemis Singers, singing to a poem written by S.L. Weisenberg. It's about how we grow and change and become more real, more ourselves. But it comes specifically from a lesbian feminist perspective. I invite you to enjoy it now.
The one who waits in line, the one who waits for instruction, the one who bides, the one who has no nerve.
I am the prize daughter, the prime daughter, the one you hold close.
The one who asks the right questions, the one the librarian looks at gratefully, not the wild street girl who wants warmth and a book on the alien threat.
I am the good daughter, satisfied by your right answers, the good daughter with the good word, the good nod, the good dress, the good shoes, heels the proper height.
I am the proper daughter who returns calls, who doesn't cancel plans,
who gives gifts, who returns everything to its proper place, who says thank you
and please,
and you're welcome,
who gives everything in return, who takes little,
and only when offered, who follows the directions on the bottle, on the cap, on your lips.
I am the good one, a good country, a warm, compliant country. I am not rebellious Ireland, Greece, Cuba, Nicaragua. I am not a trouble spot.
Or a stain, or some animal you can't trust to swim you across the river. I ford rivers. I cross prairies. I am a willing beast of burden. I lick your soft hand for salt.
You've kept me well fed.
You've kept me in dresses.
you've kept me in slacks.
You've kept me a good girl.
And you have trained me so I will not kick or bite the hand that feeds. But one day you will notice
A jolt as I carry you across the desert, and you will see that another willing beast has stopped in its tracks, or spun, or bumped, and another, until the whole pack of us is bucking like wild, wild broncos, clapping our heels against our shins, our toes against your knees, until our blood
and yours flies dancing.
painting the burning sands and cacti colors they have never, ever seen.
Kind of cool. But I'm wondering, did it make you feel uncomfortable? I guess this is when I really wish I could see your faces. Are you nodding? Are you horrified? Are you disgusted? Are you intrigued? Whatever feelings you're experiencing right now, I invite you to just sit with them. Experience them for a moment or two. Where do they come from? What are you reacting or not reacting to? For myself, as a bona fide lesbian, I have to admit a little discomfort. Why does it have to be so in your face? Isn't that funny? Why should someone else's life, someone else's perspective and experience make me uncomfortable, make any of us uncomfortable? I think maybe it's because they're pushing back on what's normal and accepted, the agreement that we've all made to be quiet and go along, pushing back on what it means to be human in a society that shuts out so many experiences of other humans. Why do we have the urge to keep the world nice? Mostly, I think it's a deep-seated herd mentality that we know at some place beyond words, place beyond knowing that safety lies in being included in the larger group. That's why so many people get such a feeling of joy and coming home when they come into our churches for the first time. It's that feeling of, I finally found our flock, our people, yay! You know, it's also why we let folks get away with some really bad behavior. Why we don't speak our truth, even if it might make somebody uncomfortable. Because especially if they have more power than we do, we want to just keep everything quiet. That's why so many good and decent human beings who happen to be Republicans are still supporting a broken, untruthful, and not quite decent human as their president, because nobody wants to be kicked out of their flock. But I think there is more to this difference between nice and being good. Because nice is more on the surface. It's more changeable in the present moment. What's nice in one context is not nice in another. Goodness, being good, is a different thing entirely. It means being connected inside to what is real and true for me in this particular moment, for you in your moment in time. Be nice, we have to respond to what is around us and try to keep the favor of those who have power. But to be good, we have to listen to our own deepest connections, to our own profound reality, to what is true and right for each of us. Now, it can be the difference from picking up groceries for your neighbor because it's the nice thing to do. No, it can't hurt. Or deeply understanding that all of our destinies are intertwined and connected, and even holding those who have done us harm or will do us harm in the future, holding them within love and goodwill. Much, much harder thing to do. It's the where and why of who we are and what we do in each moment. Right now, the world feels like we're in a very dangerous moment. More than ever, we don't need people just being nice. We need people being real, people telling the truth, even if it's uncomfortable, people living from the deep goodness that is inside each and every one of us, remembering at a physical, spiritual, metaphysical level that we are all connected, all part of one unified reality. What you do affects me, and what I do affects you. We come into this world from that unity of being, and we all return to it after we die. We are successful, we are good, and we can live from that knowing throughout the whole of our lives, and we can practice it in each moment. I believe in this moment that our deepest call as spiritual beings having a physical experience is to remember that profound truth. We must listen to that still small voice, often drowned by the cacophony of life. These words from David Wagoner speak to this truth. He says, "Stand still. The trees ahead and the bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here, and you must treat it as a powerful stranger, must ask permission to know it and to be known. The forest breathes. Listen, it answers. I have made this place around you. If you leave it, you may come back again, saying, here. No two trees are the same to the raven. No two branches are the same to the wren. If what a tree or a bush does is lost on you, then you are surely lost. Stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you." End quote. In this moment, you can find you, because in our heart of hearts, we know this to be true. We are connected. We belong to one another. We are responsible to one another. And we are called to speak that truth out loud, even when it makes people around us uncomfortable. It might mean telling the truth about a pandemic, knowing it's going to mess up so many lives. Or telling the truth about our climate crisis. Now is an opportunity if ever we saw one. Yeah, it's uncomfortable to tell the clerk you don't want that plastic bag. Do it anyway. It might simply mean saying yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no. Or maybe saying no, thank you, to a friend that invites you over because they're bored to tears from being home and looking at the same four walls for too long. And you are too. It might feel like the nice thing to do, but it is a good thing. Is it what we really should be doing? Truth is often not pleasant, often not nice. But if we can ground ourselves in the deepest truth of who we are, live within that truth, act from that place, we know that our lives can indeed be very, very good. Amen, and blessed be. We are at home in our jammies and we're not all together in church, so there is no offering plate to pass today. And still, I'm going to invite you to say our offering words together. And remember, it's true as we support one another from afar. This church is made up of all of us. It is what we learn together, the work we do together, the fun we have together. It is what we share with one another, with the people around us, and with all the world. This church is only made up of us. So I ask you right now, if it is at all possible with all the uncertainty and ambiguity in the world, to continue supporting its work. There's a donate button on the first page of our website, which takes you to the donate page. And if you can give some amount to continue the work of this community, we are immensely grateful. I want to thank also everyone who has already sent in your pledge. Thank you so much for being on top of that. And if you haven't yet, please do email it or send it to the office as soon as you can. And if you aren't quite sure what's going on, you are welcome to contact me or one of our board members. All the contact information is again on our website, and share your situation. We just really need to have an idea of what the reality is so that we can create next year's budget. Thank you so much for helping us get this important work done. And I'll turn you over to Linda Rio.
Our second reading is The Cloudless Watery Blue Sky by Linda Susan Ulrich. The cloudless watery blue sky has yet to learn about the small virus wreaking havoc on the earth below. The red buds emerging from winter trees have no idea they're awakening to a world where people can't hold the hands of their dying. The wind blows chill air through, whether or not cheeks and fingers remain protected within walls. Stars continue to burn their great stores of energy. Do they also fear the day they'll run out? But the birds know everything about singing to each other across empty spaces. Dogs understand greetings that don't involve touch. Tortoises take things slowly and carry their sense of home everywhere. Cats flatten their curves all the time. What will history write about this moment? What will our children remember? May it be a story of mutual care across all boundaries, a habit of compassion, as hopeful as the spring's return. Thus ends the reading. Please join John now as he leads us in singing our closing hymn, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door.
May nothing evil cross this door, and may ill fortune never pry about these windows. May the roar and rain go by. By faith made strong, the rafters will withstand the battering of the storm. This hearth through all the world grow chill will keep you warm. Peace shall walk softly through these rooms, touching our lips with holy wine, till every casual corner blooms into a shrine. With laughter drown the raucous shout, and though these sheltering walls are thin, may they be strong to keep hate out and hold love in.
Thank you so much, John. We're going to finish with a poem that we actually used last week. It's called Pandemic by the Reverend Dr. Lynn Unger. It's such a beautiful thought for this particular moment that I think it's worth repeating. She writes, "What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling, give up just for now trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. When your body becomes still, reach out with your heart. Know that you are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. Could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are surely in one another's hands. That has come clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live." I can invite you to join me in saying our usual closing words as the chalice is extinguished. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of its truth, the warmth of this community, nor the fire of our commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world.
And here is now a lovely song from World War II that gave the nation great strength when we needed it most. We'll meet again. Stay healthy, my friends.
Thank you so much, Jamie. That was beautiful. And thank you all for sharing your Sunday afternoon or whenever you happen to be able to tune in and join us for this service that we did together. You are an incredibly important part of our community. You are loved. You are held in light. You are its hope, its vision, its caring. You bring our community out into the world that needs us so very much. As this bizarre new world unfolds, even when we can't be physically together, we can be together in spirit. Go forth this day, remember to listen, to breathe, to see what the earth is offering us in this particular moment. Amen, and blessed be.